Welcome to Oddball. I'm Amin Elhassan. That over there is Izzy Gutierrez. Playing week, man. What a time to be alive. We put the Miami Heat in a grave, in a shallow, unmarked grave, and we said it was a nice run. And you know what they said?
You put them in a
Their
grave.
hand came out the ground and said, "We're not dead yet, I mean." And they crawled out and they choked the hell out of the Bulls, demolishing them 109-90. The Bulls had no answer for Tyler Herro. 38 points on 13 of 19 shooting, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Didn't miss a shot in the second half. Is he
First half.
In the first half, excuse me. 8 for 8 from the field, 3 for 3 from 3.
See that stat right there?
Yeah.
That's 30 plus points, 80 plus true shooting percentage this year. How many times that has happened for a player? Jokic has done it 5 times. SGA done it 5 times. Tyler Herro 6 times. Although technically that didn't count.
Yes.
Stats wise.
This is my favorite thing. The very first year of the play-in, I hit up Tim Frank, who is big wig, big exec in the NBA league office. One of the biggest of wigs, right? So I said to him, "Hey man, do these count as regular season stats or do they count as postseason stats?" And he said, "They don't exist." I said, "Wait, hold on, Tim." He's like, "The games exist just to figure out who the seedings are. So any stats that you see about this guy's the all-time leading scorer and playing, no.
All in the darkness, just to avoid. It does not exist.
Does not. It's a phantom. But what wasn't a phantom was the Heat's win last night. Izzy, what were the takeaways?
So a couple of things. Well, it's more of a Tyler Herro conversation for me, right? Because he's been in a couple of different roles since he's been there, whether it was first as a clear 2 guard, next as a combo guard, then more as a point guard. Then this year it was more back to combo. And it was just like, all right, how is he going to be best utilized? And I was been watching him play lately. And early on in the season, they were doing this thing where it's just a lot of threes and layups, no mid-range, right? Yeah. And I don't know if that was something that they were really going to stay true to all year long. It was more, hey, let's get used to this. And then when we need to, hey, we'll open up that mid-range, right? It feels like now that he is more in a mostly off-ball role, where it's either Alec Burks now, Kyle Anderson, or Davion Mitchell running the point, where not only does he not have to handle that pressure defense when he's on the ball, but he is knowing where his shots are coming from. And that is so ridiculously important. He can make any shot on the floor, but until you know which ones are the regular shots you're going to get and which one are your favorites, then you're not really a lead guy. You're not really comfortable out there. Now he is. And whether it be early in games to get his rhythm or late in games because he knows he can get that, mid-range pull, mid-range floater, that's all money for him. Almost to the level of not quite Kevin Durant, but somewhere in that tier.
I like that the decision-making is a lot easier for him now, right? He doesn't have to, he's not as consumed with, I got to set the table, got to get guys involved, whatever. He just can play a lot more freer.
Natural.
Yeah, and in the flow of the offense he wants to get. Also, I mean, it bears mentioning, the lack of the Jimmy Butler situation hanging over him has kind of cleared the air. I know they had that long losing streak, but after that losing streak, you look at how him and the Heat have played, and you have to feel good about it in the small sample size of those games.
Yeah. Let's be honest, Jimmy Butler is a difficult guy to play with because he's perimeter, he's interior. Where do I fit in? I just have to wherever he's not. And
not only that, but also a little bit of a flow stopper.
Yes.
I'm in Golden State the other night and I'm watching it, and look, he's excellent, but you could tell there's a bing, 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 and then it comes to Jimmy, you feel everything slow down as he likes to probe, he likes to kind of force the defense to react and then make plays out of it, which works, but doesn't quite work if
doesn't work with everybody else, chemistry-wise.
Not everybody else, and certainly not with Tyler Herro. And so that has to have helped as well. But also, I kind of feel like, man, it's Chicago.
Okay, well, here's the thing, though, because, yes, against Atlanta, it's going to be a different deal with Dyson Daniels in front of you, right? Can't do it again, against that guy. But has he done enough now that we see everything that we just talked about, where he's in a comfort zone, where he knows where his shots are coming from, et cetera? Is he now, rather than, hey, some guy that we're just dressing up for a trade, or is he a franchise fixture? Is he the guy that maybe we have, or not we, the Heat sort of forced us to compare him to early on? Is he approaching Devin Booker?
Oh, I don't. I mean, look, there's a statistical argument that could be made. I think Devin Booker is a vastly better playmaker and a more creative scorer in terms of different ways he can make shots. I think Tyler Herro's a better 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I think but to your point, I do think that is true about Devin. I think, like I said, Tyler's still getting there. Like now that the responsibilities are consistent and he knows what he's doing, I still think he's getting there. I think this one's an easier answer because coming off of the other game. Tyler or Kobe White?
Oh yeah, Tyler.
No question, right?
Tyler's easy. That's an easy one. Yeah. The question I have is, what does franchise fixture mean? Because to me, Tyler Herro is always going to be good enough to want, but not good enough to want to keep. Meaning, there's something better out there that you're always constantly gonna be like, I'll give you Tyler Herro for it, right? And not that like Tyler Herro is bad or you don't want him around. It's just that you feel like, hey, I have an opportunity to upgrade somewhere. I mean, by way of example, if he were to become available, you don't think Devin Booker, the Heat would rather have Devin Booker than Tyler Herro?
Yes, I think they would. I think they would just argue. They'd just say, hey, similar things, bigger body, reliable, done it before. Cool, I'll take that.
And I would say also better defensive player. It took Devin time to get there, but
wait a second, what's that? What's that flying around my face right now? It's Kevin Durant. It's Kevin Durant because we're supposed to discuss the possibility of Kevin Durant going to the team that we're talking about. And there was a story out there about potentially Atlanta sniffing around, I hate that phrase, on Kevin Durant. And that would be intriguing, but if I'm Kevin Durant, I am not I'm not looking at another organization that I need to carry. Like when he got to Golden State, they carried him. And that was probably what people said about it. Hey, they went over there and you just like jumped on the train there. But after Brooklyn and after Phoenix, a couple of organizations have been pretty messy. Like I think he wants to go to somewhere with stability and not go somewhere with Atlanta, a little bit of a frat house of a front office and just kind of be a mess.
That's not structure, right? But, and there's a big but, I think Kevin Durant also fancies himself as someone who wants to be able to create beautiful basketball without all the rigors of structure and these guys over here telling me how to do things and what to do. Like he's a hooper. He wants to hoop.
And you think that can happen in Atlanta?
I mean, look, there's two ways to look at it. Way one is, yeah, man, because they'll be like, whatever you want, Kevin. And he'll be like, cool.
Looks like our co-host right now.
I know.
Like this. Can we make his mouth
like a 3-box, right? But then the other side of it is, I can't think of a more structured offensive playbook than Quinn Snyder's, which is like this. Like Quinn Snyder had to like shred that thing, and basically start anew. Which I don't know.
I'd be more. To me, it'd be more likely that they move on from Trae than they bring in Kevin Durant. I would wonder this since we were just talking about Tyler Herro. I mean, is Tyler Herro now a guy that you have to keep if you get Kevin Durant for 2 years, or can you get rid of him?
I mean, we don't to move on for Trae and Kevin Durant. That's not necessarily mutually exclusive because look, if you look at the Hawks, they've got talent. Jalen Johnson.
I mean, we're going to do this again, though, with Kevin Durant. We're going to send him to another team that says, hey, we're going to give you a little mix of people. Prove it to us. You can win a championship with that. Like, he hasn't done it.
I mean, he wants to, though.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's his goal.
But if he wants that, then he's just playing his own little game. Like, I'm not even going to follow that team. It's not going to do anything.
I mean, not necessarily. Like, he's a great player. He could maybe this is the mix that will get it done. Maybe
the Hawks.
Hey, man, it could happen.
Okay.
Who has more on the line Friday, speaking of the Hawks and Trae Young? Is it Tyler Herro or is it Trae Young?
Well, the thing is with Trae, like Trae already looks bad, like reputation-wise. He just, I think a little bit unfair, things that linger with him because statistically, like the guy's been great, lead the league in assists. It was immature of him to get thrown out the other night, but he's tired of this nonsense. Like the dude has not had an all-star teammate. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Well, like I want out, and so
somewhere Nikola Jokic is like, "Oh yeah, is that embarrassing? Yeah, you think that's hard?"
But if I'm Trae, like, I don't know if I even want to make the playoffs. I want this organization to look more like a joke, so I can be like, "Get me the hell out of here."
Is there any part of this where you say, man, if Jalen Johnson were healthy, this would be a completely different story. This would be a completely different Hawks team. They wouldn't even probably be in the play-in, to be honest with you.
It would be the closest thing he's had to an all-star teammate in a while, since maybe college.
It's crazy. Like, it's easy to shit on the Hawks. But somewhere in there, I'm like, I can see it, man. I can see, like, if you squint, like, oh, it's starting to look like something, right? They for a few weeks stretch in the season, maybe it was a couple of months, they had an identity. Hey, we defend at a high level. We have multiple high-level defensive players. And then Trae Young creates our offense, not efficiently, but doesn't matter because the defense is what carries us, right? And then like they had injuries and everything kind of fell apart after that. But I'm not so sure that Atlanta's as far off. Now, the question still remains, is Trae Young the guy that you move in order to take that next leap forward? And maybe it is.
All right, better question for you.
Mm-hmm.
The Heat.
Yeah.
Better off getting into the playoffs as an 8 seed or having a 10% chance of moving up to a top four pick? Which one do you think is better for the organization?
So to be clear, if they make the playoffs, they lose that pick. It
Correct.
goes to Oklahoma City, but then it becomes probably like the 16th pick or whatever. The 15th or 16th pick
from the Warriors.
Yeah,
right.
No, that their pick goes to Oklahoma City.
Yes, goes to Oklahoma.
And then they get the Warriors pick, which I believe is 18th or somewhere they're at. They're in, right? So you're asking me basically, would I rather have 2 picks or 1 pick? Would I rather have 1 pick and a shot against the Cavs, or 2 picks and a little bit of, I won't call it momentum, but like capital built up? And I think for where this team is, man, I don't think getting your head bashed in by the Cavs does anything. Your guys, for the most part, other than Kelly Ware and maybe Davion Mitchell, all these guys, they've been around the block. They've been in the playoffs. The experience isn't as meaningful to them as it would be for a team like Chicago, where it's a bunch of young guys trying to make good for the first time.
Yeah, just to be specific, it's a 9.4% chance to move up to those first 4 spots. And sometimes I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. With this organization, I think they would be better off making the playoffs. And will they get their head bashed in? Maybe they win a game. Maybe they make it interesting and win 2 games. Like, they will at least keep it competitive.
Uh-huh.
What that does, staying in the mix, right? Making the playoffs after Jimmy Butler just shit on your organization.
Right.
What that does to prove sort of what the sort of, not just the Heat culture BS, but just this team is, to use a phrase of theirs, not letting go of the rope. Not even for 1 minute are we going to not try to be in this race at all times. That gives them more credibility than having a number 15 pick. I don't, especially since they already have another one.
Credibility to who?
To free agents,
but everybody knows the deal. No one's like, I wonder if Heat culture is done.
But it's so fragile though, even internally. Like, okay, they don't make the playoffs. It would be such a notch on their, whatever you call it, bedpost, if they make these playoffs after all of that, because it's just like, wow, we're still here. And, again, they're not just going to get run over by the Cavs. They'll have a moment or two and be like, wow, this organization really does fight through anything.
It'll be like last year against the Celtics. Like, oh, yeah, that one game you stole. Everyone's like, oh, and then, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I think sometimes it's worth it. This one doesn't feel worth it to me. I think you go into this draft, regardless of whether you get a top 4 pick or not, you have 2 picks, and you have cap space, not 2025, but 2026. You are now in a position to start maneuvering and go whale hunting, which is what you like to do anyway, right?
That's the only thing I would give you. If that pick, that 150 current pick, gets me a better chance at whale hunting this offseason, because again, they have had success with young people or whatever, you're not going anywhere next year or the year after if you're saying, hey, we're going to go, a Kuminga, Moses Moody style and get 2 picks in the teens, and here we go. Because you don't have the superstar at the top.
All right, let's spend a couple of seconds on the other team that played last night, the Chicago Bulls. This is the last playoff win was a D-Rose buzzer beater over the Cavs from 10 years ago. Izzy, and I ask you to fill in the blank. Chicago's future is
white. And I mean, they have to choose between Kobe White and the Whites, which is Giddey and Buzelis and that. Because look, I like Kobe White. You mentioned he's taken a step this year. He's also going into next year, expiring contract. Very attractive for another team, especially if a team thinks that that's a piece that can fit in well, and they think that he still has room to grow.
Right.
I think Giddey as a restricted free agent, you have a little bit more control there. And Buzelis still obviously on the rookie contract. Like those two, you saw the improvement from Giddey, not just from last year to this year, but throughout this year and in the second half. I think you can convince yourself that, we can build something. Buzelis, I think, is like Amin Thompson-ish in terms of like ability, athleticism and stuff. And so notice I didn't do another white guy there. And so I think and I hate, this hurts my heart, man. It hurts my heart.
To compare someone to the Thompson twins?
No. I think they got to move on from Billy Donovan. I don't think Billy Donovan is the answer there. I think he's been there for too long for, other players to be convinced. I think he might need to move on. And I'm telling you, like, this is like saying my dad should like get fired or something. Like, this is Billy freaking Donovan. I went to Florida and I love that dude. Covered him when I was in college, but I just don't know if he's going to do much of anything in Chicago.
I would say it's optimistic to fill in that blank. optimistic for the first time in a very long time because they've got young guys that I'm like, oh, okay, I can see this building somewhere. The big thing was, earlier this season, Lonzo Ball played and they extended him, right? And so the hope is now he's got some time under his belt. He's got another summer, maybe a little rest rehab. Maybe he's ready to just work on his game for the first time in a very long time. Reminds me of Derrick Rose, ironically, that year we got really good with Minnesota and everyone was like, what was the difference? He said, for the first time, I wasn't rehabbing. I was actually just working on my game. And so that was kind of the resurgence of Derrick Rose as a rotation player. If Lonzo Ball can be a rotation player for them, and you've got Giddey, I think Kobe White becomes a massive trade piece that you can attach some things to. And now you could start digging out of this perennial play-in spot that they found themselves in over the last 3 or 4 seasons.
And maybe have a new coach while we do it. I'm also lucky they're doing it in the East because in the West, there's no room for that. We'll talk about the West after we get back.
Welcome back to Oddball. I'm Amin, Elhassan, that's Izzy Gutierrez. And it's time to go to the Western Conference, Izzy, where the Mavs blew out the Kings 120-106. They had 44 points scored in the second quarter of that game, blew it wide open. Klay Thompson was phenomenal. Is this proof of concept for Nico, Izzy?
I don't know about that. I think I don't want to give him too much credit too soon. We still need to bash this guy. Look. This is probably what we want to talk about here. Kevin Durant's been floating around because I saw a graphic, and I don't know how real it was, but I saw a graphic, and the graphic had Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson and Derek Lively and Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant.
Okay.
And I said, holy crap, that's a great starting five if Kyrie Irving comes back at anywhere near his normal self.
You know what's funny? He's like, oh, holy crap, that's a great starting five if Kyrie comes back. That's a great starting five if somehow the Suns are like, yeah, PJ Washington should be enough.
I mean,
PJ Washington, Najee Marshall. What else got?
Wait,
Dante Exum. Yeah,
tell me what this means. Did I not read a report that the Phoenix Suns will work with KD on a trade, meaning he goes wherever the hell he wants to?
Yeah,
because they screwed it up so badly.
I'll work with you. That don't mean I'm gonna take PJ Washington and Dante Exum and Olivier Max Prosper and all, I don't know if the Mavericks have that kind of inventory.
Oh, that's right. They didn't get any from.
Yeah, they got one. They got one from Luka. And this, by the way, is again why when you're going to trade your 25-year-old, 5-time All NBA first team player, you have to get 1 million picks because that's how you're going to keep rebuilding your team. That's how you're going to keep improving it. And it's just. Man,
I don't think I can live in a world where Nico Harrison was right for this. I just can't look back and be like, man, Dallas Mavericks won a title in 2026 and look at Luka still dancing out there.
The only way I want that to happen is if they win a title in 2025. If they can do the unthinkable, then I'm like, you know what?
Just wrap it up, get it over and done with. All right, the storyline, close that loop. Let's move on. Speaking of moving on, the Sacramento Kings, 2 years ago, they had the executive of the year. They had the coach of the year.
Yeah.
They had the clutch player of the year.
Yep.
They have none of those guys now.
No.
And they got rid of them all. And they actually hired their replacement now for a GM.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's worth talking about the Kings because they're just a one and doneer.
I think it's worth talking about. Look, when you have shaky ownership. And when I mean by shaky ownership, Vivek Ranadive invests the money and spares no expense and all that stuff, but unstable as a leader. And what happens, it doesn't matter how good your talent is, doesn't matter how, we figured it out. They find a way to mess it all up, right? I think Phoenix is going through that right now. Yeah. They've got an owner who's shown, I will spend everything, not only spend everything on the team, I'm going to make it cheap for fans to eat concessions at my games. That's how much money this guy's willing to sink in. But because his leadership is shaky, you get a shaky product. Despite them having great players, despite them having a former championship coach being their head coach, it didn't work.
Well, this is how you know they're bad. I have a friend, shout out Lawton. He's the only Sacramento Kings fan I know. And he told me before the season, I was just like, hey, DeMar DeRozan. And he goes, DeMar DeRozan, he's going to be a ball stopper. He's just going to shoot all these long twos. And I just don't love it. And I was like, I don't know. He might give some balance to that offense. Yeah, he knew it. He knew it. It was going to be terrible. Yeah. Look at last night, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Or the other night, it's exactly what ended up happening. It was DeMar DeRozan taking 28 shots, usually around 20 feet away from the basket.
Hassan Minhaj is a big Kings fan.
I don't know him.
Well, I do.
Oh, okay.
That was all just
that's the Kings coverage for the season.
That was
Thank
just
you,
a setup for me to say that. All right. Damian Lillard news,
Shocking.
Izzy. Yeah. So he's off the blood thinners. The deep vein thrombosis has been cleared. He is now cleared to start doing contact workouts and ramp up for the return. This is according to Shams Charania of ESPN. He's not cleared for game 1, but now we know he'll be back for the playoffs for Milwaukee. How does this change their outlook?
I mean, first of all, I'm just happy that he can be able to back. I hope he's not going through any gambles here, taking any risk here. It seems like he's gone through the blood thinner cycle, super confident, and you just sort of rev back up. As long as you're not on the blood thinners, there's no real fear while you're on the court. Does it do much for them? Honestly, I hope Giannis just keeps playing the way he's been playing and thinks of Dame as just another guy, kick-out option, if you will, guy that can bring it up the court. Because the way Giannis has been playing, it's a one-man wrecking crew. Reminds me of, the last few games of those finals against Phoenix. And so happy for Dame. Don't think that changes my projection much.
Quickly, does the winner of this series become the biggest dark horse? I heard Tyrese Halliburton talk about we have championship aspirations in Indiana.
I mean, they would be the only dark horses because it's not going to be the Pistons, at least according to you. And if it's the Knicks, they're not really that dark. They're the number 3 seed. So I would say, the winner of this one is, and I would say the scarier of the two would be the Giannis-led team.
Okay. All right. Last story we have is Zion Williamson. So Pelicans hired Joe Dumars as their new president of basketball ops. Shortly after the hiring, news broke that Pelicans owners were instructing Dumars to trade Zion. And then more news broke that Dumars doesn't want to do a deal. Not quite yet. Over the last 24 hours, I've heard more and more that Dumars wants a chance to get through to Zion. There's hope among decision makers that Dumars can connect with Zion in a way that David Griffin could not, and that's according to Shamit Dua. Do you think Joe D gets through to Zion?
I think Zion, it doesn't matter who's the one doing the talking. I think Zion has to go through a period of sort of self-reflection and self-awareness and just ask himself what he wants. And if he is somebody who is convinced that his body will not allow him to reach his goals, then he won't. But if he says to himself, yeah, of course I can do all these things. I just need to take care of myself. I'm only, whatever it is, 23, 24 years old. I can do this. Then he will. It doesn't matter if the advice is coming from Joe D or not. Or from somebody else.
I just think that that
Kevin Durant.
No, get out of here with that. Kevin, go, shoot.
Kevin Durant for CJ McCollum straight up. I'll take it.
Yeah, whatever. Now I just think for the Pelicans, there's no path to Zion having that awakening without him getting traded, and he goes somewhere else like, oh my God. Like, I really burnt my way through the...
Or maybe trading everybody else around him, being like, it's just on you now, man.
No. That message never gets across.
Okay.
It's going to be like, it's everyone else's fault. That's why they got rid of them. Like, it's when they give up on you, that's when it comes through. All right. So, shout out to Huel, by the way.
That's right. New customers visit Huel.com/oddball today and use code oddball to get 15% off your first order, plus a free gift. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I'm vanilla, baby. I'm kind of my my go-to flavor here. What about you?
I like chocolate, man. It takes me back to my childhood. Chocolate milkshakes, chocolate milk. This is exactly what I love. And this is what I love about Huel. The Huel Black Edition, ready to drink, is good for your gut, and God knows my gut needs it. It's a source of calcium, which contributes to the normal function of digestive enzymes. Helps keep me regular, Izzy.
Yeah, I know. I'm on a chat with you. That is gives me way too many details. My favorite thing is, look, I've been working here for a while. This morning and afternoon commute, exhausting. But one of these, it's got B12 in it. It's a lot of energy boost. You don't even realize it until about an hour later. You're just like, wow, the energy's all of a sudden here. Huge for me.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now. High protein meals for under $5. It's so affordable. I always choose Huel when I'm in a rush. It's stupidly convenient. No prep, no hassle. Just grab a bottle, shake it and go. That way I'm saving time and money.
Well, you see, there's something on here that tells you it is vegan. And that's huge for me because if I'm starving, I'm looking for fast food. There's no good options for me. I try to eat vegan. It's sometimes impossible, especially if I'm really hungry. This is a meal replacement. Completely serves everything that I need. Love it.
It's vegan, it's gluten-free, it's kosher certified, all of it, all in one. Black Edition ready to drink is a meal in a bottle, folks. One bottle contains 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and is low in sugar. Huel is a perfectly balanced meal designed by nutrition experts and takes the guesswork out of healthy eating.
New customers visit Huel.com/oddball today and use code oddball to get 15% off your first order plus a free gift.
35 grams of protein.
That's it for Oddball.
All right.